Hello? Can you guys hear me? All right, I hope I didn't lose everybody. Big surprise, I hope you're still here. Snowy, I hope you're still here. Thank you, Lou, for coming on. That was so shitty. I was really excited. I was about to get into a really cool part. It kind of worked though, because that was when I was about to separate to the next part. Okay, I saw 3 people, maybe somebody's here. Okay, anybody who shows up, please say hi so I know if people are still here, because I would like them to not think that I just ditched this. Kind of worked because now I have a separate thing of the other thing was more about the autism. Now we've got going into my study stuff. It says 1 person. Okay, Lou, if possible, please comment to Snowy again. And then guess pick surprise if you can. But I don't know if he'd see it. Because no, he has so many subscribers, I don't think he'd see the comment. Alright, so yeah, as people show up, please say hello. I don't know why this always happens. Like, even when I'm recording videos, it's just like, nope. You thought, bitch. You thought. Alright, I'm gonna go up the lighting. Up the lighting. I can speak English. Okay. Alright. I am so annoyed that my computer died. It's having such a good conversation. Okay. I'll maybe comment to I always hate how it says 2 and then 3 and the 2. Maybe. It's been the thing that I have, the one that's been listening to me talk the most lately, so it's probably like, please, bitch, shut up. Oh, I appreciate the clarification. It's always great that you guys have gotten used to that. I got this one though. I got it. We got 3 people. Does that mean Snovy's here? Because the thing always lies to me. Yeah, I didn't let it. I turned it back on. I made it come back on. Don't do this again. But also, please be nice to me because I have an exam tomorrow and you're the computer that I have set up and I cannot risk you dying. Please encourage it to not die. I don't mind kissing its ass right now. After that, it can. But just right now, I need it to work because I had to download one of the Respondus lockdown browsers where the professor can lock everything down. I clarified that I got someone to finally respond to me because I sent an email before. Snowy, dang, you go out of your way to turn it on and it still treats you like this. To be fair, I cracked the screen by accident and spilt something on it the other day, so it might just be fair revenge. And fair is fair. Don't call it a toxic relationship. That's all I have right now. I'm at my rehab thing. The computer I was gifted. I feel so bitchy talking about that stuff. Like, especially because, not because like, if I had money, I'd be honest and be like, yeah, I get a lot of money. For me, I am grateful for what I get, and those were gifts, but I just don't want to sound hypocritical. And people are like, oh, you say you're poor and you get those things. Actually, you know what? I keep doing this. I learned something about myself, which was that I basically developed like almost a PTSD thing. I'm not gonna call it that kind of thing because it's not, and I know that, but it was basically this anxiety because I was I had this really toxic friend group before, and it really started with I had made a friend, and that friend Bleach. That was the friend that was originally my friend. But Bleach, who did I call the other person? What did I call them? The one that was toxic, that was with there, that Bleach was friends with. Bleach is no longer friends with them for good reason. Once that person showed up, everything went to shit. And then that person was very, very manipulative. Yeah. Yeah, but okay, so I'll just call them the other person just because I will make another video and I don't want to make it more complicated, but I think what I called them. All right, let's just call her. I'm gonna just wait. What was I thinking? I think I came up with something. I was gonna say toxic bitch. Would that be stooping to her level? No, I think it would be fine because it's just a definition. What do you guys think? You guys pick a name. I want to see what you guys can come up with because they were one of the most annoying people and they were very manipulative, manipulated the whole group, except firstly, I'm autistic, so I don't notice a lot of things of what they're doing, so I couldn't notice the manipulation at first. But also, I had a strong personality, so she hated that. She did not like me. She hated me because I was one of the people that she could not manipulate. But I didn't understand why the other people were starting to listen to her. And basically, it became a campaign of, you suck. This person sucks. Like, they just were all telling me over and over and over again, as a group, you suck and you're toxic and you're too much. And so I developed this thing where I basically lost so many years of when my personality was supposed to develop to just being told how I was supposed to act. And I would fight back. I'd be like, no, that's not how I'm supposed to act. But I just lost the time to be able to develop my personality. So now, as I've been at the makeshift rehab, I've been learning more things about myself. And I realized, I no longer care. A part of me is that I do not care. If I go too far in what I say, I'm not afraid to be wrong. Tell me that. And if it's going to damage something that I want, which is to continue having subscribers, then fine. I'm going to be Toxie. Oh, I like that. Oh, you're 18, by the way. Thank God. Okay. Just because, you know. Yeah, it did. Thank God you're back. I was just talking. I asked them to name someone who was really toxic. Let's see, I don't remember what you called him. Toxic bitch is a fitting name. Toxie. I like Toxie. Yeah, I love how you're coming into this pick. I'll just call you Pick because Luke called you Pick. You're coming into this and it's literally just like, what should I name this person? And in the comments, it's just, yeah, toxic bitch is a good name. Let's call her Toxie. Anyways, so I'm just all right. Fight over what a computer's called. Anyways, yeah. So Toxie was basically. I've now had to look back on what I was like before that, and the ages of like between 13, 14, those are the ages when I was really developing myself. Maybe up till 15, like me, more 14. And I was watching House a lot, and yeah, part of being autistic is you mimic things. And if you watch House, you probably notice that I'm unnervingly close to that personality, except a little bit more self-aware. And I just okay, part of also being autistic is when I talk a lot, suddenly my brain is just like, we have words to say, but let's just not say them. because I go nonverbal sometimes, or it's hard for me, but I don't want to right now because I'm not having a hard time. It's just I might be slower in my articulation, not because I'm drunk, just because it sounds that way. I always seem like I'm high or drunk, except when I'm high or drunk. I never look like it then. Don't know why. Uh, so I was talking about that. Yeah. And so I look back on that. And when I was 14 or so, I watched House, and that really impacted things. And that was around the time when I also found out that I was essentially a kid genius. And that was also the time when I was just learning so much about myself, introspection, getting more into that. But also, it was after I started to realize how fucked up my head was and having to deal with it. And it was like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is awful. And that's more of a story for later. You hear sounds, it's just my stomach growling, but I'm too lazy to get food. Um, so I've been just going back to that and just you'll notice I keep going back to being like, actually, no, I'm not sorry because because I'm not going to apologize for stupid shit anymore. I'm not going to apologize for being me. I'm not going to apologize for all that because one of the saddest parts of things, I think losing friends is way worse than a breakup. Like a friendship breakup is way worse. But one of the hardest things is to lose yourself while you're growing up and have to find it again after you lost all the years where you were supposed to develop it. And in general, just losing who you are because you start to listen to people. And I didn't even know I was listening to them, but I was at a point where I was still developing my personality. And then I spent years of being told, you're autistic, or being told, like, you don't know things about yourself. Like, just listen to us. But what's funny is I knew everything before people. People thought I had borderline personality disorder. I was like, no, you're wrong. It's bipolar. And then eventually find out, yeah, that's right. And I found out, like, actually doctors and medication testing actually proved it. Oh, I'm autistic. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. I finally find a specialist. Yes, you are. I know it. And I wasn't just going for a confirmation bias because they can tell me I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, I'll be like, then what the hell is it? And so many times people don't listen to me. And then very bad things happen. I was like, I need to go to a psychiatrist. I need to go to a psychiatrist. I need to go to a psychiatrist. And then big bad thing happened to me. Or that I did to me. It's long than another story. And then it was like, oh yeah, we should have listened to her. And so now I'm just like, you know what? Unless I am literally going psychotic and somebody has to do that. Like it got so bad lately where it's been like twice where I almost 5150 myself. Which is in California, like Baker's Law, which is in Florida. I think it's called Baker's Law, where it's you 5150 someone. It can be voluntary or involuntary for like a psychiatric hold, because I didn't know what I was going to do because I was constantly being pressured to function in a certain way, and my parents would be like, we just want you to succeed, except we want you to do it in this order of A, B, C, D. And I'm like, I cannot do it that way, but I can do it if you let me do it. And they're like, well, why did you wait till now? Why did you wait till now? Why couldn't you do it earlier? And I'm like, I warned you guys earlier that I might have trouble later because I've stressed myself out so much and because I know myself. And then I start to doubt myself and start to feel like I'm crazy. I'm like, am I manic? Oh, I have to ask someone, am I manic? And they're like, no, you're not, or yes, you are. And I'm like, no, I can't do this because there's going to be times when I'm alone and I have to make those realizations myself and I have to learn how to do it myself. And so don't take shit anymore. And if I'm genuinely wrong, fine, I'll evaluate the situation myself, listen to people. I will evaluate what I think of those people and I will either confirm or deny it. I'm not going to give fake apologies. I'm not going to give fake not apologies. Non-apologies are pretending that I'm right. I am going to I like to do things to get what I want. And what I want from this channel and YouTube has nothing to do with just popularity money, because I don't strive for any of that. That doesn't matter to me. I asked, like, for example, pick like to help me with more views. Yeah, part of it is because human nature. As a psych major, I understand there is that, like, there's a basis of people wanting to be liked. It's in a part of people, but also I don't. My brain doesn't always work that way. It's just like I can be egotistical, but I also have an agenda for this, and my agenda is trying to spread awareness, because nobody they don't listen to autistic people because they think they know better. When it's like, you're stressing us out so much that we can't even talk. But we could have had the chance to if you didn't try to force us to talk or learn or do stuff in your way. Now I'm gonna check the comments. Okay. Let's see. I'm gonna go. It's late in the UK. Have a good day. Oh, I hope I didn't miss being able to say goodbye. Thank you for showing up. I really appreciate it. Sorry, my rant got in the way of me being able to say goodbye. So yeah, your turn, guys, for comments, because that was a long rant. Okay, good. You're still here. Bye. It's just, I'll leave you with a long rant. So feel free to show up anytime. It's great to have you here. All right, so whoever's left, please ask questions while I organize what I want to talk about in my brain next. And stretch, because I've been sitting down in the same position for how long? Almost an hour and a half. No, about 2 hours. It's probably horrible for my back. Okay, Lou. When you're dealing with something like trying to change people's perception of mental health, you need views. Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. That's why I asked for it. But I also won't deny if people ask me, hey, are you egotistical? And it's like, I like being right. So if someone tells me I'm right, great. But I don't need someone to tell me I'm right to know I'm right. Snowy. I'm on the final stretch of my homework, so I'm going to focus on that for now. All right, okay. Do you need to go, or do you want to? I'll stay on the chat, but I'm not going to be responsive until I'm done. Okay, so as long as I'm not distracting you, I don't mind if you need time. I was going to go into my homework too, so we'll do this together. We'll get through it. Now, the surprise that I had was that I'm not going to upload these videos right away, because they said it wouldn't be a good idea to post it, but nobody said that I couldn't just do the live and then just not post it for a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do. If somebody tries to tell me otherwise, I asked, and I was right. They said, when in doubt, just don't do it, or whatever. Well, I'm not in doubt about this. So just got to make sure these don't come up until later. So I got to do an assignment on a real forensic case. Devious, man. What else would I be? Honestly, I feel like I wouldn't even need to plead insanity. I feel like they would just look at me and be like, you're insane. Speaking of which, one of the topics that I need to study is insanity. I'm going to say the case that I did was very, very, very fun. And that one I will leave because they were very strict about saying don't talk about it. But I'm going to tell you that that's why the surprise is that I'm just going to be able to tell you guys about what I'm studying more, instead of like worrying about getting in trouble for it, because I need this. It's going to help me. I don't have study partners, and I told them that. And if you can do study partners, what does it make a difference if I know that I'm only going to have 3 to 4 people, 5 if I'm lucky, and usually that 5th person just needs to be kicked out. I don't whatever. So what is going to be in my exam? Let's see. Oh, hello. What we're going into right now is my channel is about autism, mental health, and stuff. And right now, we're going into forensic psychology because I've got an exam, but I figured it would be really fun to discuss some of this stuff. It'll help me study, and it's going to be really interesting because, trust me, forensic psychology is not boring. It's not going to be me sitting here telling you about like calculus. So I'm going to be talking about things like civil commitment, like what it takes for people to be committed against their will or stuff like that. Also, didn't understand a word you said. That's kind of the norm here. I'd love for you to join us, subscribe if you like. I usually talk a little bit slower, but basically, I'm going to be discussing certain topics of forensic psychology, like how much it takes for people to be committed, what it is exactly considered to be insanity, how it's done. It sounds a little bit boring, but it's not. And then there's the stuff about details on like how they deal with sexual predators, which is very annoying when they talk about things like their treatment and stuff like that. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, guys, that after you were a sexual offender, you couldn't find a place to live and decent, like nobody wanted you to live there. You know, if you just didn't do that, it would have been great. Cool, then feel free to leave. Boring. Okay. That would be great, except it's my life. So no, just letting you know, I already said that in the beginning of my live. I planned this live and it's literally called Psych Chat. So yeah. We're just gonna go on with this and stay if you want or leave, but if you're gonna be kind of annoying or unproductive, you will be kicked out. Just a warning. Bye. Moving on. Thank you, Snowy, for coming in. Keep an eye on it. Snowy? Oh, okay. You deleted them. I thought that those were a bunch of like extra, what's it called? I thought those were a bunch of links that the person just spammed with. Thank you very much, Snowy. You were doing great, especially because you were doing you're working on your homework. Very much appreciate that. Let's give props. Give a thumbs up or some clapping for Snowy. Thank you very much. You dealt with that very nicely. Also, it was very fun to just tell that person to fuck off. Does that make me an asshole? I know I'm already an asshole, but when people are being stupid, it's just very fun to be like, all right, you're dumb. Goodbye. I'm not going to fuck with this. Okay, so let's see. The topics I have for this are chapter 7, 8, 9. Plaza. Thank you. And support. I hope you do great with your homework because I understand how annoying it is. So civil commitment thing, as it sounds annoying, but it's pretty kind of interesting in how they do it. And then there's a section on criminal and civil competence, which is like how they can tell whether or not somebody's competent to actually stand trial, like, you know, be in the trial. And then the last chapter is insanity, criminal responsibility, and diminished capacity. So basically, if a person should be considered criminally responsible, if they're criminally insane, or they have diminished capacity, and what the difference is between all that. So you pick. Do you want me to start with that? The sexual offenders thing, I already reviewed a lot on, so that would be the last thing that I would do. I want to do a live tomorrow probably, which I will leave a pinned comment on this live if I'm going to be doing it. The latter sounds interesting. Which part? Civil commitment? Or the insanity one? I'm confused. Also, like I said, tomorrow, if I do the live, then I can review like all of it or the other things or anything we miss, because I don't have the exam until 7, but it's a potential in case I need to save spoons. But if I feel like I have enough spoons, then it might be a good idea because it's going to be great to review with you guys. Okay, I'll wait for the chat thing to catch up. Just let me know what you guys want, which part, or Lou, since Snowy needs some time to focus. I will wait because I want an excuse to drink my apple juice. Needed that. Time to take meds. This is a reminder. I don't know if the chat's lagging or if you don't remember. We've got what it takes to commit someone. If they're competent to stand trial, or insanity, the criminal responsibility, and all that. Wait, okay, I'll repeat. I was saying, just to catch you up on what the choices are. The choices are either about insanity or competency, like competency to stand trial. Competent, okay, that's great. After that, I feel like the most interesting one would be insanity. So we'll review those two together. I do a lot of highlighting while I talk, so it's going to be me probably looking down as I read it. But this is going to be really fun. And also, I love the way that this book is because you can just go on different parts. You don't have to say in a specific order. Now, just to give a little thing, one thing that would need to be explained, I think that would relate to this, is the difference between there's a difference between like what the police can do and what like the civil commitment is, which is very, very annoying. So there's something called the legal doctrine of parens patriae. I have no idea how to pronounce that. Or parent of the nation. And this is a theory where they're obligated to act in a parenting capacity for those individuals who are unable to care for themselves. Now, an interesting thing is that the only thing police can do, they can only do something like detain someone and like take them in and potentially have them involuntarily committed, but that takes a psychologist involved. They can only do that after they've done something, which I think is so stupid. So it's like, all right, we need to wait for them to go out and stab someone for you guys to actually like stab someone in a psychotic state because they think it's the demon. They think it's a demon, or I don't know. They think it's the ghost of Christmas past for it to be a reason for them to actually take them in, instead of when they see someone, for example, showing psychotic symptoms, has a history of doing bad things, and they're like, this person's pretty likely to do something, but we can't until they actually do something. Lou. So once they become a problem, they can be committed. In the police's power, yes, but there is also that's the police power, which which is under police power. The state's obligation is not to protect the individual from himself, but to protect society from the individual. Sounds great, doesn't it? The legal system, it sounds great. And the highest duty would be to protect society from any danger, which this seems so backwards because unless you protect the person from themselves, they're going to be a risk to society. Like, unless you see someone who's psychotic has the potential to hurt themselves, you don't know what they're going to do. They have the potential to hurt other people. But why is it they have to wait until something happens in order for them to do something? It's just so idiotic to me. Also, remember, I am not a specialist in this. We're learning along together. It's normally emphasizes dangerousness to others and therefore places a premium on prediction of dangers instead of inability to care for oneself. So part of it also is like they do have to worry about predicting if they have the possibility to, like, they don't worry about if this person that can't care for themselves. They're thinking of the dangers towards society. Lou. Well, just blatantly saying they don't care about the person with the problems, essentially, because the main thing they're saying is it's basically looking at the many instead of the individual. But it's like they don't recognize that the many is affected by the individual, so you kind of need to help the individual to not be a risk to the others. So they assess the dangerousness. This is where forensic psychologists are very important because they're there to do both, to look at the individual and to look at whether or not they're a risk to themselves. That's why when you're involuntarily committed in the 5150 in California, you have to be a danger to oneself and others. It's like they kind of go together. Is the foundation that whole thing is the foundation for civil commitment, which is laws which are largely based on a model that suggests the mentally ill could and should not be treated for their disorders. What the fuck? Did I read that right? Okay, that was historically. Thank God. Okay, historically. Historically, the mentally ill were placed in mental health institutions for extended periods of time, if not the rest of their lives, at the discretion of mental health professionals. So they're basically like, all right, just go there and we'll let you know if we feel like letting you out. But we're probably not going to do much to help you. Or back then, honestly, back then, it's kind of like, did they not notice that their treatments weren't working? Like, how many times how many lobotomies did it take for them to realize that it didn't really help? Essentially, they were caged, but they weren't just caged. They were just guinea pigs. And the thing is, I understand sacrificing one to save the many, but it doesn't make sense when to save the many, you need to not sacrifice the one, if that makes sense. Because you're going to realize later that the many also include many of people that have that same problem as the one. I hope that makes sense. To them, being normal is just being, I'm guessing you meant quiet. To them, normal is basically like you're not quiet in a sense, but also like you just don't outwardly look like you're going to do something. Need to check something. There's something that I wrote down that was important, but where did I put it? Of course, I can't find what I wrote down. Oh, it's in your notebook. Okay. Oh no, not my selenite. Yes. Okay. Oh, okay. So I was wrong about the parents parete. That part isn't related to that part is related to everything that I was talking about, but the thing that I was talking about where they wait until someone does something, that is part of criminal law. In criminal law, they don't actually have the ability to prevent people from engaging in violent behavior. Then there's something called mens rea, which is the intention. So the person has to have the intent to do something, and they have to have the intention or knowledge that their actions or lack thereof would cause a crime to be committed. Civil law, which is what we're talking about now, does not need that. I think that's what I was writing. Yeah, civil law is what doesn't need that. So back up. Criminal law is not what we're talking about. Criminal law is the thing where they're like, we can't really stop you from doing anything. Civil law is when they're like, we need to commit you. But that, in kind of a sense, takes away a lot of people's rights, so it's very hard to determine and it's controversial. But they have a responsibility to protect the public. It's just shitty that they're also like, we need to protect the public, but not worry about the individual. Again, they're not thinking long term, and it's just gonna be like, that's like how I think prisons should have like mental health counseling, because if they throw in a bunch of mentally ill people in there and they don't get better, they're just gonna end up leaving, and then that's it. They're not gonna have help because they didn't look bad enough or whatever stupid reason. Okay, so let's see. Now, there were a lot of cases that were really important for civil law, like things that changed the way civil law happened. There's one which is Lake versus Cameron. That happened in 1966. And these are specific crime cases. And then we're going to see like what the result of it was and how it affected the way civil law is treated, the way that they implement civil law. That's the fridge. How they implement the use of like committing someone, the use of we need to do this right now. Like, we need to prevent this right now. As opposed to criminal law, which doesn't have that. That doesn't have that. Like, they can't do that. They just are like, let's wait until somebody stabs someone, then we can do something instead of preventative. So the result of that one in 1966, Lake versus Cameron, I'm saying it multiple times so I remember. Wait, Lou, jail isn't meant to help a single prisoner. Tends to break people, and it does help them. Yeah, and they say that they're there for rehabilitation. It's like, I always think of it as it's basically a timeout for adults. But the problem is, and also it's so stupid when they say like the overcrowding issue. It's like, well, then stop fucking putting people in there for long periods of time that don't need to be because of stupid laws that were made years and years and years ago. You need to evaluate things. It's really screwed up, and a lot of the things in there, it's like you fix one thing, it could screw up another thing, and the whole system. Let's leave aside that. We're gonna worry about this shitty stuff that are related to forensic psychology right now. If we sat here discussing all the shitty things about basically all of it, it's gonna be a long time. It's just so that. The case, it's a crime case, and I could go into the crime cases if you want. The cases in this one, so in the Cameron versus Lake, in which limitations were placed upon the commitment process. So basically, like, the federal court ruled that there would be alternatives should be considered instead of institutionalization. And then the widespread of medications made fulfilling this more realistic. So required the summary of what that result was from the Lake versus Cameron case. I think their cases basically, my professors can be like, what happened with the Lake versus Cameron? And these are, yeah, basically what we're talking about in this is how things changed over the years. So that one, required treatment should be in the least restrictive setting. So they were saying we needed to make changes instead of shoving the people into those cages. We need to consider that much more before we consider institutionalization. Let's consider the treatment first. And that's when a lot of the medication started coming out, which was in the 1960s. Now, there was another thing which was called, how the fuck? Lessard versus Schmidt. And in that case, that happened in 1972, which the ultimate result. What? Treat mentally ill people like people? Crazy. Exactly. You mean that's a thing? I thought they were just blobs. I thought they were just a mass of skin and blood and brains, and that was it. Who knew? My stomach is growling so loud. Literally, they were like, oh, you mean they're people with brains? Let's just chop out about half of it to justify the fact that we don't treat them like they have a brain. Instead of treating like there's something wrong with their brain, let's just take out some of it. Okay, so the Lesser versus Schmidt thing happened in 1972. Don't have time to look through all of this, but I think that was after. This book is very annoying in how it has these little summary places where they're like, great, let's summarize it. Except then they have like a bunch of short things where they're not being very specific about them. It is very annoying. So the ultimate thing from that case, whatever the fuck it was, because it's really hard to find it, Lou. All the talk about the civil cases must be making your stomach hungry. You telling me I like to eat brains? Let's move on to the whole Schmidt thing and then tell me if that's what you meant. No. That one ended up with commitment proceedings must include the same procedural safeguards as criminal proceedings, such as notice of impending civil commitment procedures and rights of counsel. So that one, the Lessard versus Schmidt case basically ended up with, oh yeah, we need to, they actually also have rights, and we need to make sure that they are informed beforehand that this is going to happen, and that they are allowed to have, like, they have the right to counsel. I believe that they meant like to legal counsel, the general rights. They're people. Who knew? Then we have the Wyatt, I'm just going to say it like that. Wyatt versus Stickney. Did everyone with horrible names just decide, really weird names, just decide to be, well, I guess I'm not one to talk. I'm becoming a psychiatrist, and my last name is really weird too. But like, still, did they just choose the weirdest names to discuss? Lou, let's talk about civil cases. Oh, okay. I thought you said something else. Okay, I think I need food soon. Anyways. So this one was in 1972, and this one basically resulted in, it says here, establish the right to receive treatment for individuals civilly committed with realistic chance of improvement. God damn it. All of this is so stupid because it should be common sense. Everyone most difficult names want to stir trouble. Really, I was always I was a trouble child, but not like because I caused trouble, but because I was like, I have questions and I want to find out the answers, or I'd be like and I was very stubborn. So this case is basically saying, oh, you know how we are treating these people and like giving them a bunch of drugs and shit like that. You know, it's kind of important. Like they've got counsel and they have the right to know, and treatment should be required in a less restricted environment, you know, not just always being in a straitjacket. And oh, by the way, we should also use the treatment with the idea of a realistic sense of improvement. You know, like what the hell? For all these years, we've just been treating them without the idea of improvement that was realistic. Like you have to look at them in the individualized cases and think about what's the realistic nature of their improvement. It's so annoying. Let me see if it elaborates on that. Okay. Then we have, oh wait, you said something. Realistic chance of improvement. I know. I'm guessing you quoted it because it's funny. It is funny. They're saying that establish the right to receive treatment for individuals who are civilly committed with a realistic chance of improvement. Oh, wow, this is even worse than I thought. I think it's saying that it established that the people have the right to receive treatments for the people who are civilly committed have the right to receive treatments with a realistic chance of improvement. So the ones that they think have a realistic chance of improvement, I think that's what it's saying. Where is this one? Where did they talk about it? I'm not at 19. What do they just not talk about 1972? Did they just skip it? Individuals facing commitment were informed. Did they literally skip it? Did they skip it, or am I just blind? Do they talk about it later? All right, I'm not sure. Okay, basically, if they don't seem salvageable, they're fucked. I think that that's what they're saying. I think that they're basically saying that the individuals civilly committed with a realistic. Oh, the one oh, okay. I think I just am not finding it, but I think thank you for explaining it. I think that's what it means. It's basically like those who are realistically probably going to improve have the right to receive treatment. Like I think they mean like treatment that's going to help them improve, and I guess the other ones they're just supposed to receive care. I don't know. They're just rushing through this shit. That's why I hate looking at specific cases because well, I if I were to look for it right now, this would just take for too long, and I don't have enough time, like before my exam, not like enough time within this live, just before my exam. I hate when they go into specific cases because it's like, yes, that's important, but like, could we focus on what it did more instead of just who they were really quickly? Like, I don't really care about what evidence they gathered, like that, how many people they took it from. Anyways, moving on. We have the O'Connor versus Donaldson in 1975. which the result was an individual must exhibit dangerousness in order to be civilly committed. So I guess that's a good point in saying the exam is tomorrow at 7 p.m. This one actually seems reasonable because when you're civilly committed, it does take away a lot of your rights, and I think that they're working on basing the amount of rights. They are saying that it does say that later in the book, the amount of rights based on what the person needs. Okay, and then they have the Addington versus Texas. Oh wow, the whole state. I don't know if it's a person or the entire state, but 1979. The standard of proof in civil commitment proceedings is clear and convincing evidence. You know, this shit should have been like clear. Like, what were they like? All right, we can have just vague evidence. That's cool. Just shove them in that box. Let's see. What were their standards for dangerous, though? That comes in later with the amount of the criteria for dangerous. This is just like we're talking about the basic ideas. So then the last one here is the, oh my God, Zinnerman versus Birch, which is said that mentally ill individuals are not able to give consent for voluntary admission. So this is saying that in order to be civilly committed, like against their will, they have to be able to like literally not be able to give like voluntary admission. Well, I'm not talking about like a psych hold. I'm talking about like full like committed to an institution when they're dangerous. No, it's not Zimmerman. It's Zinnerman. Zinnerman. Zinermon. Zimmerman. I've heard that name before too. Yeah, those were cases that they were giving examples of because the next part is the criteria for civil commitment. Now, this part, I already did a bunch of highlighting on this. So I'm going to go through it real quick. And then I'm not going to include, okay, so the criteria basically is they need to have a mental illness. They need to be dangerous. Now, the mental illness is typically the term mental illness is used by mental health professionals, basically what's in the DSM. But the law is stupid because it sort of picks and chooses which mental illness is. Because for mental health professionals, personality disorders are considered part of it. But they're like, a question here is, should personality disorders be considered? And one of the things is like psychopaths can have antisocial personality disorder, but not all psychopaths do. That was an interesting part of it. So when I call myself a sociopath, that's actually not a recognized term legally or like scientifically, but I just prefer the term because it makes more sense to me. Because there's something called a successful psychopath, which is the ones where they don't know much about, because they're the ones that just really don't do a huge amount of shit that's other than what like they're like the ones that are businessmen and stuff like that. I just thought that was hilarious how they call them successful psychopaths. So you can be a psychopath, but you don't have antisocial personality disorder. When you have antisocial personality disorder, usually you're kind of in the category of a psychopath, but you don't have to be. I want to make a video specifically about psychopaths, and it'll probably be like not a live, just a whole video. Picks, basically, when I say pick, based on their agenda. So like, of course, if they have a chronic thing where it's something like schizophrenia, where it's an extreme case where they literally did not know what they were doing, I'm separating from that. But when it's in the gray area, that's where it gets tricky. And that's where they rely on the expert opinions of forensic psychologists. So, because lawyers don't know this shit. So if you notice, they'll always have, in a lot of cases, they'll have a forensic psychologist for both sides. And you notice usually both sides, they pick the one that agrees with their side. So that's how it gets tricky, and it's annoying the way law works with mental illness. And the dangerousness, it varies from jurisdiction, but they basically, like, some states say they have to be a danger to others, and that includes like property, other interests, and even emotional harm. And some even require an overt act of danger to others to have been met. So I think like some places are literally like they have to have already done something. But the universal criterion is that they have to be committed by dangerous if they're dangerous to themselves or others. That's the general idea, but it really depends on jurisdictions. Lou, you kind of have to have a lack of empathy to cut your business rival throats in order to become successful business. Yeah, you kind of do. But also you don't have to be a psychopath to do that. And also for like if you're for in a case some cases, like, it's again, everything's very individualized. And I wasn't diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder, but it's also psychopathy is also not in the DSM, but it's a recognized thing in forensic psychology that they use, and there is literally a list of criterion to meet when you're in a case of law, in a like when there's a case going on. So I find that very interesting. Again, that's going to be in a different video. There are 2 factors of psychopathy. I need to stop because that one just really fascinates me. Okay, so the basic idea of dangerousness is, depending on the jurisdiction, they have to be able to, they have different ways of telling what they want to pick and choose. And then it's also what goes on in court. Oh, and when I was talking about like the severe thing, that is called a grave disability related to dangerousness. Most jurisdictions explicitly consider the presence of a grave disability to be sufficient for danger to self, and all jurisdictions consider it in making a decision. Someone is normally considered gravely disabled if he or she is unable to care for himself or herself, and to provide for his or her own basic needs. So basically, grave disability is part of when you consider dangerousness, because it's like, can they care for themselves or not? And it's also about like, let's see. It varies from place to place, but the general consensus is they need to not be able to care for themselves. It's just all the considerations, it's very dependent on the place. That's why, for example, when I had to write a paper on an actual case, which I'm going to make a video on later, or probably do a live, because I ramble a lot and it's one that's going to be rambly. I had to use like the specific like criteria used to determine about like the sex offenders in California, which is the state I live in. Lou, a lot of these break down to case by case basis. That's exactly what it is, which is kind of what people forget, the general public forget about humans who are mentally ill, case by case basis. But this is important to learn because you need to know things like grave disability. What are the basics of it? What's considered to be, what are the basic rules of this stuff? Like, they have to have a mental illness to be able to be civilly committed. They have to be considered dangerous. Just depends place to place on what's considered dangerous. It depends on place to place what they'll consider to be the mental illness. But you have to know, like, grave disability. You need to draw the line somewhere. That's basically why the main purpose of the study is. Being able to draw the line is why they have the strict rules, Problem is sometimes the strict rules are stupid. And I think it's stupid that it varies so much from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Not even state to state, but jurisdiction. Like, I could drive about 50 miles in any direction, I'll be a different jurisdiction. That's so stupid. So what if I'm, or like even 20 miles potentially, like, what? It's such a stupid thing. Also, you need to draw the line somewhere. Funny part, the line is literally the jurisdiction. Sorry, I had the stupid joke, but. And then the last part about the conditions for civil commitment is the need for treatment. So this is not a universe. So another criterion for civil commitment, I'll check on that in a second, that's not universal as presence of mental illness and dangerous is the need for treatment. So this is one where it's not as universal. It's not as set, and it's not as one of those that like usually people will look at and be like, yeah, we really need to consider this. But it is also one of the criteria that is considered. It's not. Oh, okay, let me finish reading this. It says, although the need for treatment was the original basis for civil commitment. So that was originally why they put people there. That was the original idea, is that they need help. Let me see what you said. You're considered criminally insane in one state and okay in another. That's in the next chapter. I haven't gotten to the chapter of insanity. But I guess it's a matter of one courtroom to another courtroom, honestly. How good your lawyers are. That's the thing. Because how many people try to go with the whole like, I'm pleading insanity. Okay, then although the need for treatment is not recognized as sufficient to take away an individual's liberty. So when you need treatment, that's not enough to commit you in the sense of taking away your liberty, which is what often happens with it, the full commitment against your will. And many jurisdictions continue to include the need for treatment as an additional criterion for civil commitment, but it is not a sole criterion for any of them. So basically, a lot of jurisdictions, not all of them, continue to have this as one of the reasons, but it's not, it cannot be and is not a sole reason, the only reason. Frequently, the need for treatment is incorporated into the mental illness criterion. Yeah, which makes sense, basically, because criterion, so that the presence of the mental illness is not sufficient to meet the criterion. These instances, one may be civilly committed, one's loss of liberty only justified if one's mental illness can be treated. It's all a lot of like, where do you draw the line? You deleted a message. Wait, I just deleted that comment because it makes no sense if you read it. If I did that with everything I said, probably we'd have about a 5-minute video. It's probably a good thing I don't edit. Okay, the next section is a lot about the process of civil commitment, but I already went through a lot of it, like my studying, and I don't want to take too much time on it because then it will mess me up and taking too much time. So we'll move on to, it's still within the same chapter. I just need to go get some food, take a mini break, but the mini break for me is just, give me a sec. I highlight like every line, but I highlight with different colors to tell me which things mean which thing. This will take about 2 seconds. So if you need to go to the bathroom or something, now is the time. Okay. Done. And were pretty groundbreaking for their time. Oh wait. They're considered criminally. What was groundbreaking? I'm confused. Also, an interesting part about the voluntary and involuntary that I was just reading is about coercion, because sometimes, even if it's voluntary, you have to be careful if coercion is there. And there's also a further complication that it's mentioning here. And there's the example of the Zinnerman and Birch case, where the court ruled that individuals who are seriously mentally ill and not able to consent to voluntary admission cannot, therefore, they must be involuntarily committed. And research has shown that the status of voluntary versus involuntary is related to the perception of coercion, and there's an important difference between being involuntarily committed and feeling coerced. So there's a big difference between those two things. What the hell is my hair doing? Why does my hair look dark brown? How do I look with black hair? Okay, I have to get food. My stomach will not shut up. Next part we're going to be talking about is about the impact of coercion, which I think is going to be very interesting, because I haven't read this part. This is going to be new for both of us. Coercion is basically, I think it has to do with when you have the situation of whatever's going on. It probably has to do with both. It's where it's going to be like somebody feels like they have to, or that they have, kind of like, how, from what I understand, kind of like how earlier I was just feeling like a whole gaslight type of thing. Not really, but like a whole thing of like, I don't know if I am capable of making my own decisions, and it was making me feel like I have to continue to ask people for that and stuff like that. Brown looks good on you. I think it looks more black. I've considered, like, okay, we're at 57%. I think that's enough time for me to go to the kitchen and get some food, for fuck's sake. Wow, that was pretty fast of how much I went through. And thank you for being able to keep up for that. I'm impressed, Lou, because I was talking really fast. Yeah, the coercion thing is really sick. And it's kind of like I might take a break to rant a bit about what's been going on with me. Because I've been studying, for like 3 days, I was like studying so much about sexual predators and offenders. And then after that, and that was right after I had to do a whole paper on a sexual predator. And I was like, well, my PTSD has sufficiently been numbed. Now, let's talk about something other than what I need to study, because I need to make my brain think of something else so I can be able to go back and do that. I'm used to having fast talking teachers and shit. Either you keep up or you end up lost. Honestly, one of my problems that is like, I'm going to take off my glasses right now. I don't really need them, and they're adding the glare. One of my problems is that you think I'm talking fast. This is my brain works faster. This is what I can catch up with. So, like, that's what's kind of sad about this. Time for me to take a bunch of medication. Prescription. Covering the bottle, but just so I can make sure that people online don't. So nobody looks at this and sends police to my house. Oh, I left some of the other ones over there. I'll be right back. AKA in like 3 seconds. I have an entire box full of medications. When I said that I have a lot of mental disorders, like an absurd number of them, I meant it. Also, an ADD/ADHD thing that's drilled into me is stay focused when wanting to process new information. To stay focused when wanting to process new information. I don't understand what you mean by that because one of the problems is hard. Also, do you have ADHD? Secondly, by the way, it's called ADHD now. They separated it into 3 categories of either you have primarily like the ADD type of no hyperactivity, or you have the one that's primarily hyperactivity, or you have the one that's both. So I actually like that, well, the way they discern it. But people, it's really hard for the change, and I get it. And so people are just constantly like, okay, so, well, yeah, whenever you have ADHD, you always have both. It's more about like which one is more prominent in your life. But some people, it really is just like both. So I don't know if you mean like you have it. Yeah, my hair, you can tell in this lighting how dirty it is. So that shows what I've been feeling. I haven't even had time to wash my hair, which is kind of probably good because my hair, the blue has turned into teal, I'm pretty sure, and it's gonna turn into yellowish soon if I don't get my shit together with dyeing it. Oops, did I go the right way? I'm gonna turn on the fairy lights. They're pretty. Makeshift rehab is so nice sometimes. It's just, you need it. Roommate came over and stayed for a bit. And then after a few days, we were both like, want to be alone? I kind of want to be, I was like, I kind of want to be alone. I was like, don't be offended. She's like, no, I kind of want to be too. It's like she's my friend. Well, because it'll turn into a greenish yellow because when you bleach your hair, it ends up that yellowish kind of color. Then you put blue on it. If it's dark enough, it'll end up the blue, but it'll fade to a tealish color because then it'll turn into like greenish because of blue plus yellow, green. No, blue plus yellow. Am I stupid or is that it? My brain. Yeah, it's green, isn't it? No, it's not. Red, blue, yellow. Yes, red, blue, yellow. Those are the primary colors. And then red and yellow makes orange. Blue and red makes purple. Blue and yellow makes green. Yeah. Funny thing is, I have actually taken a million painting and art classes. Still, that has a problem. More ADHD than ADD, but it's just when I want to learn. So you have more of the hyperactivity type, but it's just when, this is Lou for the people who rewatch this, when I want to learn, I was always told to put a lot of concentration into it or I'll lose focus and won't get it at all. Well, there's a thing called hyperfocusing, which is kind of nice with ADHD and is very contradictory, where it becomes a tunnel vision on what you're doing. And so it is kind of good to tell yourself that. If this helps you, that's good. Just I'm just adding that warning of like, if people tell you that, make sure it doesn't stress you out to force yourself to do it. So, because that's what I've had to deal with a lot, is just feeling like I'm forced to do shit a certain way instead of just doing it the way that helps me. Also, isn't it funny how people are like, oh, it's an epidemic of autism and ADHD, and it's like, no, it's just like we actually have more things. These people are always here. They just, back in the old days, the people when they were milking cows probably weren't freaked out as much. Now there's like fucking bright lights and sensory overload things everywhere, and now there's so much stress in schools that probably ADHD shows more, and blah blah. Anyways, okay, Lou. Yeah, I'm more hyperactive, but I deal with it by excreting. Okay. I was wondering, I was like, all right, I never heard of it, but you shit out your own, your hyperactivity. Whatever works for you, man. Also, you still spelt it wrong. Just gonna be that bitch. I really want to be able to meditate and shit, but I just like, I get so bored. I like things that challenge my brain. That helps me get it out. I am more the attention problem one, which is very frustrating because people are just like, why can't you just focus? And it's like, God damn it. But I'm sure your side has just what us like its own unique stupidity from people. It's funny how stupid people can be. It's like it's amazing in a way, the level of which people can be idiots. I didn't even know people could reach that level of stupidity, but apparently it's possible. Also, yes, it's gonna look like I'm taking a million, but I asked insomniacs. Well, I'm guessing that's a joke, but that that is literally so. Thank you. I'm going to use that to explain things to people because insomnia is so common. People actually believe it happens because they've experienced what it's like to have some nights where they can't sleep. I appreciate that joke. Oh, my hair, you can tell just how dirty it is, but just I'll be proud of it. I'll own it because this is how much I have been working. I literally sent a message to my fiance last night before I saw him. I was like, just as a warning, I'm disgusting. He was like, I don't care. It's okay. I don't care. Don't worry. I'm like, I know you don't care. I was just giving you a heads up. Why don't hypochondriacs just chill? Yeah, I know. It's also really annoying when you see things like, I hate it how in hospitals, it just shits entirely on the medical system, for example, when they're like, why don't the black people just shut up about it? They're supposed to be able to handle pain more, aren't they? Did you or did you not go to med school? Because I'm very confused about it right now. No. Almost took my anti-anxiety meds, which is diazepam. It's not a good idea to take that when you're trying to study. Also, Snowy, since you're on here again. Wait, what the hell? About what? The fact that I have take diazepam? Oh, yeah, that's actually, it's a statistical thing. A lot of black people receive not as good health care, not just because of, their just economical state, because, that whole thing. But there's for this stupid ideas that stuck for some reason. I don't know where it came from, that they'd be like, black people can handle more pain. I don't know if they think that having more myelin in your skin, it automatically means like you've got a superhuman shield. I don't know. And also, it's probably the racism of like, oh, they can wait. That's probably part of it, not related to the pain thing, but just another shitty thing that happens to them. It's just like, guys, can you just stop? You're gonna go to a redhead and be like, you're shit just because you're a redhead. No, that doesn't happen just because the redheads are generally white. So it's fine that they don't have blonde hair like the norm. I definitely need my ADHD med. I'm trying to lose my focus. I hate how I got this and it says, take half, 1 tablet by mouth daily, as needed to focus. And it's like, you gave me 30. How am I supposed to use it as needed for a month? I mean, redheads are technically a genetic mutation. All of it is, to be honest. Like, it's literally all, like, it's just... I still love those t-shirts that are like, You know how they say like vaccines cause autism? They make T-shirts and buttons that are like vaccines cause adults. I love those. Yeah, I need food. When you don't eat food, meds don't always work properly. For those who weren't used to that. Oh, I'm going to a grape leaves. I haven't eaten. Jesus Christ, I haven't eaten in like about 8 hours. This is literally what some channels do. They just sit there quietly and eat, isn't it? Vaccines have been shown to have negative effects on some kids and people. The negative effects, though, if they have it, is usually related to having something specifically, like something related to them, a genetic thing in them where they can't have it, or it'll be some specific medical reason. But the statistics are they help the majority. So it's like, yes, it can cause issues with some. I got my meningococcal conjugate vaccine, and I got this really huge fucked up rash, which I still have a little bit of. It's going away. Or is that just scars? I don't know. On my arm. But I was like, yeah, I'd rather have that than fucking meningitis. So it's a give and take, you know. As for long-term effects, usually you'd have to have a condition that would be automatically impacted by it. Okay, I think that I'm getting pretty tired, and I need to be able. If she got closer, it could be an ASMR video. Oh, I thought you were just talking about third person for no reason. I could do ASMR, but I hate ASMR. One of my things with autism that I have is the sensory. I have supersonic hearing. It's ridiculously good. Like, I'll be like, oh, somebody's already here because I can hear their car beeping from, like, way far away. People are like, what? Somebody's there? And I'll be like, I know it ahead of time. But I cannot listen to ASMR because it's like, I want to die. One thing I always had growing up was I hated the sound of whispering. And people thought that I was, like, sensitive, that they were talking about me. And I was like, I do not give a shit. Well, I was a kid, so I didn't say shit. I was like, I do not give a shit if you're talking about me. I do not care. Just please say it out loud or just something. Just don't say it right now. Like, I just hate the sound of it. Yeah, I know some people can't handle it too, but I literally start putting my hands on my ears and like being like, stop doing it, like screaming, and then they laugh at me. They thought it was funny. Growing up, my mom thought I had OCD. I give her credit for the fact that she tried to figure it out. And it does mimic a lot of symptoms. But what's hilarious is that she looked up autism. There's a picture of a kid stacking cans. And she literally has a picture of me second hands. Okay, Snowy. I'm the same way. The sound of whispering drives me nuts, especially when women whisper because their S's are so shrill. Yeah, women it's especially bad. And also I notice men don't usually whisper a lot. But like if my mother was whispering to someone, another female, it'd be like, I just want to die. Like just say something shitty about me in front of me, and I would rather that than you whisper it. Lou, women are more shrill to me when they're loud. Yeah, it's more shrill. I don't think it's shrill. I think it's more of a sharp sound, like a. I'm sorry to make this sound, but a. Like it's like because our voices are like that. Snubby. No, but men with lower voices are just as bad. The best travels through walls. Yes, sharp. I was about to say that too. I was like, with the lower voices, it just sounds like, are you about to murder me? Or actually, no, I don't care because I'm about to murder you like in 2 seconds. Want to win the food? I could be eating anything right now. I'm just hungry. Well, not anything, but. Okay, I'm not going to try to do that. I'm going to throw this away first. Time to move places. How's your homework going, by the way, Snowy? Did you get it done? If so, props to you for being able to do it at all while I'm sitting here rambling. Or did you mute me? I wouldn't blame you, but I'm just curious. Lou, if I'm sitting like on the same bench and with a low voice, I can feel his voice reverberate in me. Snowy, I'm done and I'm enjoying a sandwich now. Yeah, it just drains you. It's like physical exercise. You're just like, oh my God, I need more electrolytes. I need food. I need something. I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. And I wonder, Lou, if also there's a lot of similarities between autism and ADHD in terms of things like the sensory stuff. So it probably is a bit stronger too. Also, Snowy, I wanted to just thank you again earlier because like that was, and because I didn't even think of deleting all the messages, but it was really nice because it kept it out of the way so I didn't have to look at it. Just because it would distract me away from your messages because I didn't care. It was actually kind of fun to just be like, all right, man, bye. Hope you enjoy like sounding stupid. So thanks for that. Again, if I randomly stop making a moderator, it's just if I end up, sometimes my anxiety goes up and I become more paranoid, but then I'd probably put it back in because I haven't seen anything else. Mainly the thing is I just need to figure out because I can see all the comments and anything, all that. And you obviously are great with that. You don't do anything bad. I just need to double check, and I'll keep you a moderator. I just want to double check about what moderators have access to. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. But as far as the way you've been doing things, firstly, I can monitor who you're talking to and like that in the comments and stuff. I don't know why Eugenia Cooney couldn't do that because when it's a moderator, it shows up much easier. Like even in chat, when I see you talking, this giant blue thing with the little wrench, which I think is so cute. I don't know why it would be so hard to be like, oh, you mean you're being a sexual predator and harassing my followers? Okay, cool. You said something nice to me though. Anyways, let me keep reading. Lou, yeah, you came through with that hammer. with that hammer of justice. No, I especially was appreciative because it was like you said, I'm working on my homework. Then you came in and you were like, bitch, excuse me, you will not. You will not. This is not the place. This is not the time, and it will not happen here. Let me see. What else? Snowy. Oh yeah, like why join a stream to tell them it's boring? I know, and it was just funny to me to be for them to be like, let's do something else, and I'm like, I literally titled this Psych Chat, and no, especially if you just came here for no reason. Like if one of you were like, I'm kind of bored of the topic, you'd probably tell me like, let's switch to a different topic, but you know that my whole point, I'm not gonna be like, hey, yeah, let's just start dancing, unless I specifically tell you I'm gonna make a video of me failing at dancing. Snowby, if you don't like, oh wait, no, Lou. Nah, he was making some pretty good points, man. Lou, he wanted us to dance. He called the stream boring. Snowy, I'm glad you liked my rant. Thanks, Lou. I would assume that was a joke. By the way, when I say that, I don't get offended. I just like to check. I say that to make sure, so I can be like, okay, future reference. When it's something said like that, it's a joke. Yeah, totally a great thing to say when I mention my voice, when I mention and say like I'm autistic, and one of the things we have is bad dexterity, and I'm really clumsy, and I'm talking about shit like that, and I'm like, so about forensic science, perfect time to ask someone to dance. Snowy, I'm glad you like my wrench. Yeah, I was still keeping an eye on the chat. LOL. Lou, I'm just saying we might have kicked this generation's Nikola Tesla. He wanted to see you dance. No, nobody gets to see me dance. I actually don't think my fiance's even see me dance. He likes dancing though. I kind of want to take, like, after all this time, I'm kind of like, maybe I want to try dancing with you. Wait, were you serious, Novi? Do you think you like wanted me to dance, like dance, like in that way, and was just being a creep? If so, oh, if that was his point, though, hilariously coincidental, considering I had just been talking about sexual predator or people being like that online. I'm not saying he was one, or even if it was a he at all. I'm just saying, like, that would be really funny considering the timing. Well, screw whatever your next topic was. Dance. Exactly. In any case, I was gonna say that I probably need to go now because I'm feeling my spoons depleting. At least he didn't tell you to undress. Yeah, but if he even, I feel like even if he started typing that, you would have just kicked him out. If he asked me to do that, I would just go off. Like, actually, I don't know if I'd go off to give him the satisfaction. I wouldn't give him satisfaction, but I would probably be like, all right, Snowy, activate the, activate, what are they called? When they activate ejection now. That would be all I said, because that would make no sense to him, but it would be very funny to me. Lou, I was half expecting that undressing comment to come in. I'm so unaware. I thought it was just like a kid being stupid, but honestly, if it was saying dance, it might have been. That's the thing. It's sad that that's even a possibility that will come in our heads. Snowy. Raphael was not an imposter. Was his name Raphael? I don't know. I don't know what you mean. I live my life in constant confusion, though, so that's not really surprising. Let me take a different dose. Stupid. thing. Do what I want, please. My hands get so shaky with this. It's always some thing of like, which side effects are worth the medications? Oh, yeah, it was Raphael something. Oh, that sounds like that's a male name, but you never. I don't know because people like sometimes just name themselves differently randomly. But yeah, was he an imposter though? I get the joke is related to Among Us, but I think he was an imposter because he was pretending to be a decent person. Or productive person. Yeah, my brain is slowing down. We can see that now. I need food. I need my ADHD meds to kick in again. But what did you guys think of the topics and like studying with me? I don't know what you guys are saying about the imposter thing. So. Oh, it's okay. I'm gonna delay the uploading of this live just for reasons related to my school. Snowy? Uh, I, mm, thank you. That was like what manifestation, man. Manifestation. Hey, good looking, what do you do? Firstly, you have low standards if this is good looking version of me. Secondly, how can you even see me? And firstly, again, what the fuck? Okay, Lou, I found it pretty interesting as lying down the fundamental and basics of civil and criminal law dealing with the mental health. Oh, Lou, man, another genius gone. Shoot. You're getting creeps tonight. I really am. Like, it's just so many. We're really letting the world's leading doctors just slip through our hands. Ugh. Slipping right through. It looks like it's just saying one person. Did you guys slip through? Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's just, I think YouTube is just being weird. Guess it's like the time where the creeps come out or something. I already had one person ask me to dance or whatever. But yeah, to Snowy, I was gonna let you know that I'm delaying uploading this because of some related to my course. One of them. I'm too tired to explain it right now, but it's relating just to the course, and I don't want to risk anything. There were the two lives, the one that cut off, and then this one, and I'll delay it, but then it will be up later. Don't worry. And I'll hopefully put in something with the description. This actually gives me more time to think of a better description. And as for tomorrow, keep an eye on which one, since I'm not doing it. Which video do you think is the best one? Because I don't want to like spam too much of them. I think I'll delete some of the other pinned comments so it's not confusing. Okay. Lou, man, oh wait, no. Lou, we're really letting the world, oh wait, no. Yeah, Lou, maybe Sunday's just when the creeps come out. Like when your description sounds like. I just realized why is it that the creeps are coming to something called like Psych chat? Damn, those psychology babes. Like what the fuck? I like when your description just sounds like how you talk. Oh, now I got what you meant by that. That makes sense now. It does. Like whenever I write things, it does usually. Unless I just really need to organize stuff. I appreciate you guys recognize that things will change up in my channel just because if I try to fake it and do just everything you guys want, but it's stuff that will just make me not want to do it, I will probably just not do anything at all. So, and it would just be disingenuous. Snowby, maybe they're trying to seek help for their nymphomania. Wrong place to do it, man. It's Sunday and I am not the place for you to confess your sins and seek help for the nymphomania. Considering that I said psych chat. I don't know, my brain is so slow right now. I'm just so tired. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, and just I wanted to know any recommendations since you missed it, Snowbeat. Don't worry, tomorrow I'm most likely going to be doing a live just because I might be working more on some of the subjects, like reviewing it, but it just depends on if I have enough energy and if I think it'll drain me in terms of that. Or I might do a live, like, I'll tell you the times because my exam is at 7 p.m. Like, that's when it unlocks. That's when I have to be on at 7. So it might be after 7 that I come on. But I was thinking earlier in the day, like maybe around 3. I usually do 3, but it might need to be earlier than that simply because if I do it too close to when my exam is, I'm going to be too tired during the exam. Let's see what else. Snowby. Lou. I hope you don't feel pressure because of the description thing, like making it real good. I just like reading them and find them funny. I appreciate the fact that you said that you wanted to make sure I didn't feel pressured. I don't feel pressured. I mean, I felt like a thing of like, oh, I want to do it for you guys, but also I'm not going to make myself do it during a time if it's going to just stress me out. I'm starting to learn more and more about myself with my makeshift rehab where I basically am therapying myself. And also just recognizing that things just go to shit if I don't stop, if I don't make sure not to pressure myself because I'm so sick of where I grew up, everything being the pressure to be perfect and then the pressure of knowing that you're a kid genius and it's like, oh my god, if I don't live up to that stereotype where I have to be able to do everything fast, but I'm autistic and I have ADHD and that kind of messes with things, you know. Okay. It's actually cool that you read the description. Because most of the time nobody does. That's why I stopped doing it because I was like, nobody reads the description, but I guess I'll do it just in case people do. Lou, either there's 2 paragraphs or the word frustration. Honestly, I'm just gonna leave it for like what I feel like that day, and it'll be how I feel. It may be one line of exactly just the frustration, or one word, or it'll be a whole paragraph. Lou, just coming into adulthood, I really relate to what you said about being perfect and people's expectations. Yeah, I'm 21, and it's like it's different. I have a developmental disorder, so inherently it's slower, especially with social things. And when you're the youngest child, and your parents also are incredibly like they're like, we just want success, we just want to help you, but just like grabbing you and suffocating you in a way. It's like, I know you guys are trying to help and I appreciate it so much, but just don't do that. Just don't help me like this. Just try not to help me. And that's helping me. um yeah, I think more of those talks will be cool because since you're 18 and you're really just coming into adulthood, I'd love to tell you my experiences of what it was like to get become 18 because I'm autistic, but also I was 18, and it would be cool to compare things, like how it feels. And there's a lot of expectations when you're 18, and they're like, that's the problem, is that in school and everything, nobody prepares you for life. I s- like the American system doesn't, the Saudi system doesn't. They're just like, all right, you're 18. Go fuck yourself, and I hope that your version of fucking yourself over works out. And it's like, man, I don't even know what taxes are. I don't know how to get an apartment without being ripped off. What is renter's insurance? Do I even have enough money to get out? Oh, I don't have money. Let me get a job. Wait, I have to have experience to get a job. Well, I need a job to get experience to get a job. Please, someone help. Like, it's just feeling like that all the time. Lou, you prepared to take tests. I'm guessing you're going to elaborate on that because I'm not sure what you mean. I have to shut those curtains. Snowy. Oh, wait. Still never. Lou, you're prepared to graduate from school, but real life help is non-existent in high schools. Yeah, you graduate in from high school, but you don't graduate from childhood or adolescence. You don't graduate from adolescence. And I read a quote once that was really, really accurate, which was like, teenagers are treated like children but expected to act like adults. And honestly, when right now, when I'm trying so hard. I'm past the point of like, I'm being treated like a child while I'm acting like an adult. But I'm acting like an autistic adult who's learning how to deal with life just like everybody else does, just like everybody else fucks up when they're younger. And it's like, can I please, just please. Okay, Snowy. He's saying all schools prepare you for his test, pointless memorization. Yeah, my school basically was built for a long time. All it was memorization, and a lot of it was just memorization. And I already had a great memory, and I got a lot of practice with memorization. So that's why I like highlight everything. And like when I was talking to you, I pretty much memorized all of it. And I can remember things really fast, learn things very fast. But the problem is, like, if I am not interested in it, it just doesn't stick. Even though I have the capability to remember things so greatly. Like, for example, I can remember all that stuff, but I'm not interested in the people's names. So now I'm like, God damn it, what are those people's names? Okay. Lou. Then again, adults are just older, taller children. So you end up learning and no one knows what they're doing. It's exactly like that. Nobody knows what they're doing. And it's just like when you feel suffocated, it's like, I want to be able to learn. But to learn, I have to not be constantly held on a leash. I'm not a toddler anymore who needs a leash. Thank you. I hope you're here, Corgi Rule, for to talk. You interested in psychology? Also, I was reading comments out loud and responding to them. Let me know, Corgus. It's hard for me to read things. Corgus Rule, if you're interested in psychology and if you have any questions, that'd be cool. Willie, this isn't something I learned from videos, just on my own book of life. Like, which things do you mean, Lou? I'm not sure. Cor Corgis. No, isn't that spelled with an IE, like the dog? You said like the dog. We're kids who made a lot of mistakes. We're just okay, there's a song where it's we're just kids killing brain cells, hurt ourselves, taking pain pills. 25, acting 17. I wish I something. Lou, I just didn't want you to think I was saying you don't know what you're doing. Oh, well, if you said that, I'd just say you're right. But the thing is, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm egotistical enough to know that I'm right when I'm right. And the only way I can be right and actually learn things is if I assume that I don't know things. Because if you assume that you don't know things and you tell people that, then it's very much easier to sound smart. But also, half the time I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just incredibly good at faking it. Also, I think Corgis, if I'm saying that right, left the chat. Guess they weren't interested in Psych, but at least we didn't need to kick them out. And I don't mind a comment of somebody just telling me I'm pretty. Thanks. I wonder, did they mean it or were they just saying it? I never know if I actually am or if I, like, conventionally, because I've been told that my face is symmetrical. Like, that would be one reason, but I never know, like I had a lot of insecurity about my nose before, and I'm not ashamed to say that I got a nose job. Like, I literally, but I also had, it was a septoplasty rhinoplasty. So I actually did have problems with breathing and it did fix that. But I'm not ashamed to say that I found that out by going in and being like, I want to do this, but because my sibling got, like, she was allowed a very expensive thing for her graduation. And so I was like, I don't feel like doing a party or anything like that. Can I just have a nose job, please? And it's cheaper over there and not necessarily bad doctors. It's just a different way of doing it. And so that was my graduation. My main graduation present was just my nose. And once I got my nose fixed, I was like, yay! Except the acne sucks. I'm gonna read these things. What you said. Snowy. Well, he used he used the second person possessive. Lou. Yeah, Corgus might have just left on his own. Snowy. So he was saying something you own is pretty. Lou. Was it really long or what? What do you mean what I own? What could I have owned? Let me see what Corgus said. You're pretty. There's also the fact that you're pretty. Either he forgot to mention what's pretty, but what's more likely is the fact that he meant to say you are pretty, but most people don't put that in. I'm not saying that just because I want to be told I'm pretty. I have nothing against that. I'll admit that's great, but like I don't necessarily depend on that. Yeah, I agree, Snowy. You meant to say you're. I mean, attractiveness is all subjective, but I think you're fairly nice looking. Thank you. I know it's very subjective. Like that's why it's like a lot of people won't necessarily look at me and be like, I'm not into pale skin and lip rings and that kind of hair or curly hair or something like that. But it's that conventional type of thing. I'm always curious if it's one of those things where people will look and you know how there is a general idea of what is considered attractive currently, and a lot of it is actually based on symmetry, how symmetrical a person's face is. Who the hell knows what's conventionally attractive? Well, mostly you can determine it just from what you see that most people like. And so people do know that. It's like a lot of people will say, for example, a lot of people will say a certain person is very attractive. But also, if you notice, like with celebrities, for example, they'll say like, oh, Taylor Swift is really pretty, but they'll also really like their music. So it's also an amount of like, if you think I'm attractive, like just by not like attractive in that type of way, but just attractive from a strictly linguistic manner, then it could also be impacted by the fact that you seem to enjoy my content. Lou, I think conventionality, like movie star, good looking, like brown, is like brown, really clear skin, symmetry, and a sharp face. Not sure what you mean by sharp face. I think that that's a part of it too. I think one of the biggest things is like a contrast of either, like, people often really like the contrast of dark hair and light eyes. In at least I think I've seen that in terms of men. Like, for example, if you've seen Vampire Diaries, Damon. I am actually homosexual, believe it or not. Yes, my fiance is male. I am pan-romantic homosexual. Just go with queer if I'm going to describe it, because that's just easier. I looked into it and it was like, well, it's just a general term. And I was like, that's probably more easy to explain. Basically, I am sexually attracted to females only, but romantically attracted to anyone. When you're romantically attracted to anyone, just to bypass the question that everybody asks, sexually it matches with romantically, because everybody's always like, but how do you have sex with them? It's like, you know how like when you love someone, you kind of want, you love them, and the sex isn't just sex. I feel like I went into that on my own unnecessarily, but I'm just like bypassing that because that's always a question, and I wouldn't be annoyed if you guys asked that, but you know. Let's see. Lou. Like a sharp nose defined cheekbones, strong chin, and whatnot. I think, stuff like that. When it comes to females, they like the slightly upturned nose, the higher cheekbones, usually the stronger jaw, stuff like that. Also, Lou, I think if I didn't watch your content and just saw you on the street, I'd still call you fairly pretty. Thank you. Usually that people will be like, oh, she's pretty. Or sometimes, depending on what I'm dressed, what I wear, they'll be like, oh, you're hot. That's usually when, if I'm wearing like my platform. So I have very long legs. I'm going to say I like my legs. They're very nice. But when you're short, most people don't call you hot. But if I'm wearing that, and I dress very gothic, and on YouTube, I don't care what I look like, because sometimes I'm going to dress up, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I wear my makeup, sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's less makeup like this, sometimes it's not. Also, please give me some credit for being able to do wings, because I am horrible at wings and I never attempted them. And I also thought that they wouldn't fit my face. Probably, oh, wow, I should have just moved the computer like this way earlier. This is way easier. But yeah, you know the whole sisters not twins, but yeah, being a fan of your video is a bias. It is, and it's like you probably, since you said you would still think that I'm pretty, because you have a general idea of what you view is attractive, it probably is more now. So you would just think, "Oh, she's pretty," and now it would be like, "Oh, she's pretty." But it wouldn't be like you're also viewing me as a person that, from what I can tell, it's just you're like, "I like your content, you're cool." Not the way a fan is like, "Oh my god, I wanna marry that person." And I like that because it's so much easier. Also interesting that you guys didn't ask about the fact that I'm homosexual. Most people do. Or maybe that's just because I'm used to, I know it's a stereotype that guys always ask it, but Snowy's male. I feel like Lou, you're male, right? Lou. Whoa, for the first time for a first time wing, it's pretty good. Oh, thank you. No, this isn't a first time wing, but this is kind of like what my first time wing looked like. This is like my fifth or so attempt. Like, that's it. That's my fifth or so attempt. Are you male or female, Lou? Yeah. I'm used to I think I remembered you saying that. I'm used to males whenever I mention stuff like any type of thing with my sexuality. They're always like, "Oh my god, how are you homosexual? What's your sex life?" So that's why I mentioned so much about it. I don't want to seem like weird about that because I am actually like, I don't think that topic should be as taboo as it is. But most of the time when I met guys, they'd just be like, "Oh, that means she wants to sleep with me." And I'm like, "You do realize I'm wearing a ring and I said like 5 times that I'm engaged." And it just doesn't stop them. Like, I really don't want to believe the stereotype. Like, genuinely, I'm gonna check the chat. I don't want to. It's just like I tried so many times to give the benefit of the doubt. I just lately though, I have met some, like, but one's like a neighbor, the other, and then there's you guys, and that's been really cool. Let me check the chat. Um, Blue, still pretty good wink. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's very hard to do that. And an odd thing is I have very shaky hands, but I'm gonna be a doctor. I need to know how to do how to keep my hands steady. And listen, doing wing eyeliner, liquid eyeliner, a great way to train your hands to be steady. Snowy, honestly, it doesn't surprise me anymore. I feel like most women identify as homosexual these days. It's more rare to find a hetero. Lou, huh? You tell them that you're engaged and homosexual, so you want to come back to my place. First, it starts with, wait a minute, how do you, wait, do you, how are you, why are you engaged and you're homosexual? I'm like, does it ever, like, in my head, like, you must be a real idiot to not consider the fact that there's probably an underlying thing that works it out if I'm still engaged. And it's just hilarious. And also, I will be like, yeah, I'm engaged. I'm engaged. I'm engaged. I'm engaged. What do you think about engagement? And I've literally had them still be like, "You look hot today." And I'm like, I was enjoying the conversation about 30 seconds ago, and you just had to ruin it. And as for like women, it's more common to be lesbian. No, I feel like it's just more common that I don't know the statistics. I wouldn't blame it. I feel like probably because like the stereotypes, I hate the stereotypes of males and females. And I think that but I've realized that they do exist to a point because a lot of it is prevalent just due to previous like expectations of how men and women were supposed to act. That's where it came from. But the extreme parts are when it's a problem. it doesn't mean that every guy is going to be the extreme. Gonna check this, the chat. Lou, I think women have had more sexual freedom than past generations. Oh, definitely. It always had to be hidden. But also one of the biggest, I don't know for sure, but one of the things I noticed, what did I come over here for? I came over here for something. Oh, I thought my vape was charging. Sad story. My vape is essentially broken. Not relevant right now. Relevant. You saw me. I finished a can that I had been nursing for about 2 hours. And it's been 2 hours again since I opened that. I'm not drunk. I'm just, Oh my God, computer's at 11%. I am not repeating this. Charging. Ha. Why doesn't it like give me a notification? It just dies. Snowy, don't drop the computer. But it's watermelon, so you were drunk. I'd love to know the connection between those. I know it's a joke, but I just want to know how you came to that conclusion. Like saying, oh, I had a sandwich. That's why I got hit by a car. I hope having the watermelon. I hope having the watermelon. I don't think it equals drunk, but maybe the medication. Oh, the medication probably kicked in faster because I haven't eaten all day. One of the things I took was some Mucinex because I always have post-nasal drip, and also dextromethorphan. The medication, I can explain that later. I don't use it to get high. I actually had that. If you notice, my throat was acting weird. Post-nasal drip, and it's a potentiator, and I have legitimate reasons. Alcohol plus medication is usually a bad combo. Yeah, but it's also because like food automatically makes the meds work better. That's why they tell you to eat usually, and also to keep you from being nauseous. But I become used to the medication. Oh my God, my back is spasming. Why is my back spasming? I've been getting intense pain lately, and it's not fun. And it's like, what do I do? Go to a doctor and be like, hey, my back really hurts. I'm just gonna be like, take some Tylenol or Advil. Or if I go in and find out something's really wrong, what am I supposed to do? They'll be like Tylenol or Advil or an opioid. And I'm like, no, I do not want an opioid mixed with all my shit and have that huge potential of just, becoming addicted. And I already take medication called pregabalin, which is like gabapentin, which is a non-addictive painkiller. I take it for like anxiety and stuff like that, which it's not off-label for that. And it's like, that doesn't help either. Let's see. Literally, White Claw is like 3% alcohol. Snowy is it that low? Lou, it's not like she's chugging Everclear. I'm not sure what Everclear is, or if I'm saying that even right. Snowy, I've never had it. It's 5%, and I have had 2-ish today over the course of like about how many hours? Like 12. Nearly 8 hours. So, over the course of nearly 8 hours. Why does it burn when I pee? Not sure why you're here, but that could potentially mean a UTI, and you should check it out with the doctor. So, you here just to ask me that, or are you interested in psychology? Because the title of this is Psych. Everclear is basically pure alcohol. Lou, oh, you're basically blackout, wasted. Wait, are you telling Loss is lumpy that? I'm not sure what's going on, but that does not sound good if it's literally pure alcohol. Pure alcohol should not be ingested like that. Loss lumpy. I'm interested in psych. Why do I find big black men attractive? I am guessing you are fucking with me, but I was just gonna clarify that I'm autistic, so it's very hard for me to tell. That's a legitimate question, I don't mind, but could somebody help me know? Snowy, is it? Well, I believe you, but you literally entered here saying, "Why does it burn? Why does it burn when I pee?" So, you cut me some slack. Uh, Pretty sure. Yeah, so how about you give me another question? Let's just leave that other one. Give me another question. Why do my cheeks burn after taking pen? Okay, Snowy. Commence ejection. Ejecting. Thank you. I am confused about how that can even show up on YouTube. Like, you can be you can be shadow banned in a way on YouTube for stuff like that, but then it's okay to show up in lives. How am I just getting all the creeps tonight? Because that's also the name of publicly funded channel in the. Oh yeah, that's very unfortunate. There's still 4 people here. Who's the 4th person? Love to say hi. Hopefully, it's not a repeat. Because that is very, very unfortunate. I forgot that part. Hey, at least okay, we're back to 3. We're back to 3. Well, I said hi to the 4th person. Interesting how I can ward off people that quickly. How did I just get so many creeps tonight? Like, how did they even find me? This is like how on Tumblr, like about 90% of some of your subscribers will end up being just before just like porn Tumblr things. Sorry, my brain isn't working fast enough yet because I've also been talking a while. So what I'm trying to say just takes a little bit longer for my mouth to get out because of the autistic part. Lou, Sunday afternoon. I'm guessing you meant is when they come out of the gutter. At first, I thought you said guitar, and I was like, "Hey, man, don't insult the guitar." What is it? It's just a purposefully, they're just like, you know what, Sunday, that's the day I do it. They just mark it on their calendar. Like Sunday is be a little bitch day. That's what it's called. Bitch day. It's not Sunday. It's not a day of rest. It's a day of it's a day of unrest. It's a day of annoyance. Not trying to be blasphemous, but it's just like, how many has it been? 3 so far? 3 or 4? I lost count. Snowy. It reminds me of Patrick at 3 a.m. I'm not sure. Is that a SpongeBob reference? Also, I have a question, Snowy. When I say commence like ejection, it always takes a little bit. Is that because of the lag, or does it take a long time to actually do it? Because I've never been a mod, so I'm curious what it's like. Almost nailed that. Slightly did. I love how I'm picking it up to drink more of it. That was me burping. Or trying to. Okay. Oh boy, Sunday night. Ooh, 3 or 4. I think it's been 4-ish. Probably 4. Snowy. It takes a while to actually do it. Oh, so it's not that yeah, it went down. It like slightly went down the wrong pipe. I got it back up and it went back down, and just my body was like, fuck you. So it's not that it takes a while to actually show up. It's literally just harder to do. That's so stupid if it is. Yeah, I hit the eject and it takes a few seconds for it to register. Oh, okay. I thought for a second you were saying that it's like a hard process, but that's so stupid. Of all the things, they're like, let's slow down the chat for us to talk to people, but and also let's slow down to get rid of the people that are asking about if what was he saying? He saying like, why does my mouth hurt? I think I did pretty good considering my being autistic. I have a hard time telling when people are joking, and I don't have a lot of people that come into the live, so I want to give them a chance. Unless they initially say something ridiculous or put in a link. If they ever put in a link, by the way, or start off with something like a slur, or start off with I don't know, like something like you look pretty, I'd give them a chance just in case. Like if they let that go and they stop being a creep. But also, I'll trust your judgment, because being autistic, it's very hard for me to tell. But that's why I was like, okay, how about you give me another question? And then that went badly. But also, I don't know if that would affect anything on YouTube either way. Like me giving them a chance. I'm not giving them a chance for them. I'm giving them a chance for me. Lily, yeah, you handled it well. Snowy, but if it's like, hey baby, Lou, dude, that's where the intelligent conversation is. I'm guessing you're joking, Lou, unless if you're referring to the hey baby. If it's hey baby, I think you were asking me, Snowy. My brain is much slower now. I'm waiting for the ADHD stuff to kick in. My brain actually goes at a very fast pace. It's just with the ADHD, it's like, can I catch up to it? Can I actually grab the thoughts to be able to use them? If it's like, hey, baby, I'd probably wait. I'd be like, hi, and then see what their next thing is. Because if they're starting off, as soon as a comment starts with odd link or slurs, you know you're in for a very intellectual combo. Oh, yes, on my side, in terms of articulating a very interesting sentence and new ways to say you're an idiot. I think I'll write some down of various manners of telling someone, you're an idiot. Except that wouldn't be if they put a link or slurs, because those are the ones where it's an automatic eject, like complete eject. Oh, I was gonna ask Snowy too. The minute I say like, hey Snowy, that's when you start doing it. So if I say it like twice, I'm not trying to like pressure you. It's just because I can't see you doing it. So, but you do it. I really appreciate how you keep an eye on things. It's very great. But yeah, links or slurs, automatic no. Someone comes in with like, you look pretty, hey baby, or something. I want to see if they'll say something next that'll be like hilarious because of the level of stupidity. Because sometimes it's just funny to see it. Like if they want to fuck with me, then I'd like to fuck with them. Wait, let's come up with a code thing, guys. Let's come up with a thing where you can tell me when you're sure that they're fucking with me, because I have a hard time telling. And then I can just mess with them back, because if I know for sure, it could be very fun. What do you think of that idea? Or is that just too bad for YouTube? I'll get canceled for it. Then again, if people are gonna say shit like that, might as well like worm salad. Okay, I think that works. Worm salad does work. Or watermelon. Well, we need to make it something that sounds normal, because if they see like worm salad or watermelon out of nowhere, it's gonna be obvious. So we should do like, are you eating worm salad? Something quick, but like something like what's a shortened version of like, are you eating warm salad for dinner? Not a duress. I don't want a duress word. It could be a sentence. It's just something to tell me when, like, if it's someone that's fucking with me. Because if you notice, like, it was something where I had to ask, I don't know for sure, and then they'll keep fucking with me. And that's why they probably fucked with me worse, because I looked like an easy target. I don't take shit, but I just don't know when it's shit for me to not take sometimes. And when it's jokes like that, I know it probably sounds like a shitty person, but do you guys care if it's just me fucking with them? Or would you find that as entertaining as I would? God, I have my vape. I hope this still is. That's a perfect one. Heating up the worm salad. And it could be fun. I'm not going to go too far to like use slurs or something like that. It'll just be like, all right, you want to fuck with me? Fine. And that way, I feel like the reason that it went from like, why does it hurt when I pee, to let's talk about BBCs and not the network. Because it looked like I was an easy target. I'll probably, if so. It does, as long as you mess with them with like it. Hey, if they're gonna mess with me like that, might as well. But it's gonna be a short messing with them. I'll just do it for a few minutes, like 30 seconds or minutes. See if how they respond. Get a couple of responses, and then I'll be like, Snowy, eject. And that makes no sense to anyone except Snowy and Blue and the people who know. So we agree. Heating up warm salad. I don't think anyone would notice that that's weird. Oh, I think what would be good is if you put BTW first. That way it because otherwise it sounds like it's an out of nowhere thing. How's that sound? Also, I think it starts to lag more with the chat when the longer the live has been. And I think it's good that talking about this at the end because I was like, I don't want them to see this and then know what the code is. But nobody ever really, when you post a live later, nobody looks at the very end of it because I'm planning on ending it soon. So that's perfect. So Snowy is going to be what Lou said. By the way, heating up warm style, because that makes sense if anybody comes in out of nowhere. Like, it would just be like, hey, by the way, it would just be like an idea that came out of nowhere. And then if I'll just say Snowy eject when it's too much. But likely you'll know to do it first. But yeah, I actually kind of do too. So I think let's say goodnight. I really had a great time with you guys. Thank you for joining me. Just the last question is, which video is the best one for me to let you guys know if I'm going to do a live? Because I'm gonna delete the pinned comments that I've had about lives so that it's not confusing. And after this question, we're all gonna go off. So I don't want to take too much of your time. I just want to know, like, since I can't have a community tab, best way to let you guys know. Like the fastest way you guys got notifications. Okay, whichever one we posted on last, I suppose. I'm confused by that, but if you gotta go right away and Lou has a few minutes, then I'll just figure out what that means with Lou, if that's okay. Because I don't want to take too much of your time. Like if you gotta go right this second. But I really appreciate that you guys stuck around for all this. It's been so much fun. It's always so much fun talking to you guys. Okay, so the same videos I did. Or you could always pin a comment on the most recent one, but there's no guarantee that we'll see. That's the problem because you guys don't get notifications for that. So I'll just, okay. I'm gonna get rid of the pinned ones and let's make it a thing of, if I do not leave a pinned comment on a day, it like I'll figure it out. I'll always leave a pinned comment on the most recent thing that I can find. So you can just check it, and I'll always leave it usually around the normal time of 3 p.m. And I'll also send you a copy of what I write in the pinned comment to the last comments, and I'll just delete the ones that I told you and your responses so nothing gets confused. Like, remember how Lou, you said, I'm really excited, can't wait. By the way, that was so sweet. And you know, that thing, I'll just send it on the latest reply because I'll probably reply to your comments and then I'll just send it on the same comment. I'll just delete it. So it'll be from the latest video. Because I'm not uploading these lives yet. I have to wait. So just check the one that I sent a message to you today. So you guys do get a notification right away if it's on your comments, if it's a response to your comments, right? I'm so sorry if I'm moving real slow. Okay, 2 people. Guessing Snowy had to go. So, okay. Perfect. All right. Thank you guys for dealing with me and my slow brain right now. So say goodnight. Thank you so much. I will leave a comment tomorrow if I can or cannot go on live. I probably will. It might be earlier or later. I'll figure it out. But yes, good night. Sleep well, you guys. And take care. And tomorrow I'll talk more about the forensic science. So, bye. Thank you. Bye. You too.